What's up, Pod Pals? It is your buddy Adam, and you are checking out Podcast Launch Tips. This is the podcast where I teach those that have been podcrastinating, those that are pod curious, how to effectively launch a podcast, how to start a podcast, how to do it right, how to do it efficiently and effectively. If those are some of your goals in the podcasting space, I got your back. And today we are talking about launch week and doing a launch week giveaway. This strategy works super well. I learned it from my pod pal, Allie Melody from the Food Heals podcast. She's got a new show called The Sponsorship Scoop. Check her out. And I have clients doing this. It's really effective. Where when we think about goals of the launch week, when you have a fresh show, there's energy around that. And we want to take advantage of that and cultivate that as much as possible. All right. So that when that first 7, 10, 14 days, we have energy from our potential audience, but we also have algorithmic energy inside of the podcast player. So like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any fresh hot shows straight out of the oven. If we can drive traffic to that, the algorithm inside that player goes, ooh, somebody new bringing people into my world. We're going to show them off a little bit more. So the more that we can really have our ducks in a row pre-launch, and anybody that hires me to use my podcast launch blueprint system, like we map this out way in advance where we have everything in line. We've got a podcast promo launch posse. I talked about that on a previous episode of this show. And we have our launch week strategy. A big part of that strategy is the giveaway. All right. And there's some different ways that we can do this. But the idea is to fire up your audience and or your potential audience with a little bit of a reward system. Okay. So like my friend Allie Melody from Food Heals, she does swag bags where she'll give away 5 or 6 of these swag bags where she'll have sponsors donate items, and she'll be giving away these as prizes for people that help promote her show during launch week. I've had other people that give away cash prizes. People give away coaching. It's really hard to go wrong with merch. People freaking love merch when it comes to a giveaway. Like I've got my Hustle hoodies. If you're watching the video, your mom subscribes to my podcast, t-shirts. Here's the funny thing. I could do a giveaway where I give away $1,000 coaching package and I'll get no engagement. Nobody will share it out. If I give away merch, it's like a rabid dog on a bone. Like people can't get it. Like they will just crawl over each other to get the free t-shirt, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. But anyway, just keep that in mind. Sometimes we overthink a giveaway and we try to create these like multi-$1,000 packages or whatever, and we don't need necessarily to go there. All right. It could be as simple as merch, a book, simple things like that. Maybe a free trial of something that you offer. A swag bag obviously works really well. Now, a technique, we have to think about what's the call to action? What are we asking people to do? And then also like what are we going to do on different social media platforms? What does the process look like? And how are we going to track everything? All right. So what is the call to action? What does the process look like? Are we making it simple, or is this a real pain in the butt to do? Questions to consider. And then how are we going to track everything? So the process or the call to action, a lot of times it'll be something like subscribe and leave me a rating and review. Now, subscribing and listening are 2 things that we want to drive people to do in that first 7 to 14 days for sure, because that's going to help us inside the podcast player algorithm. From what I've been told by people that really know this stuff, ratings and reviews don't help the algorithm at all, but it's social proof. So in that first 7 to 10 days, that is going to be important. All right. I challenge my podcasting clients to get at least 50 ratings and reviews so that there's lots of social proof. People are talking about your show. They can research it if they're thinking about subscribing, and there's some good, and you can share those out, screenshot them, put them out, shout them out on your show, things like that. But as far as actual like algorithm boosting efforts, anybody hitting subscribe, anybody listening to at least 90 seconds of an episode, those are crucial. So if you have a podcast launch promo posse, like I recommend having at least 20 people that will hit subscribe, that will listen to 5 episodes, at least 90 seconds worth within that first 7 to 10 days, then that's going to really help us come along a long way. So that's one of the calls to action. But with a rating and review, that can be part of the giveaway. So you go, all right, subscribe, listen to 5 episodes, and leave a rating and review. Screenshot that rating and review, send it my direction so that I can share it out on social media and shout you out. But that's how we collect who did what, because we can't see names of subscribers or people that have listened. And they could screenshot an episode, and that's another technique that we'll use. But they could screenshot that rating and review, send it over, you reshare it out, and they're added to the list of giveaway. Now, another way that they could enter is to screenshot an episode that they've listened to, or maybe do a little video saying, hey, I just listened to episode blah, blah, blah of this podcast. Make sure you check it out. It's about XYZ. Here's what I liked about it. And then do like a direct link in their Instagram story and then tag you. Maybe they do that every day. They get another entry into the giveaway. So those are the main routes that I would take when it comes to a giveaway. If you want to keep it super simple, you could go, hey, listen to an episode of the show, screenshot it, put a link to that episode in your Instagram story, tag me. Every time you do that, you get entered to win. So if you launch with 4 or 5 episodes, they can do that 4 or 5 times over the giveaway time span, which will be about maybe 7 to 10 days. And they could enter to win one of the swag bags or merch or whatever it is that you're giving away. That's super simple. That's usually what I recommend with my clients that I'm working with. The only time that I wouldn't do that is if you're not on Instagram. Like if you have 0 Instagram following, your ideal listeners are not on Instagram, then maybe you go to Facebook and do the same thing with a Facebook story or a Facebook post. Maybe it's LinkedIn, but any sort of screen share, social proof, tagging so you can track them, and then you can reshare. That's how they know that you are, it's confirmed that they're entered with that little entry with that social media asset. So those are things to think about. This, again, can be super effective for just kind of juicing that algorithm a little bit as you launch, which is super, super important. And anytime that we have the algorithm power on our side, we want to take advantage of it because we can get more ideal listeners in front of our show, and then we win them over. Like we have a fighting chance. You've got a few episodes out there. I always recommend you launch with 4 to 5 episodes. You've got that sampler platter of content, and now we've got a shot. And if you have good content, which I'm sure you all do, if you put a show out there and do your best and really try to serve an audience, you're going to have good content and you're going to win them over. Now they hit that subscribe button and we're always in their earbuds. And that's where the journey begins, pod pals. Okay, I think that is good for this mini episode. I appreciate you guys listening in. If you have questions about how to start a podcast, how do I launch a podcast, then get signed up for my next podcast launch. Think Tank, they are free, 100% free. All your podcasting launch questions will be answered. And we have a little group of people that are all kind of in the same boat. So it's pretty cool. You can feed off each other, and it's a great little jam session. So sign up at podcastingbusiness.school. If you're listening to the podcast, the link is in the show notes. And with that, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.